So I have not slept at all for the past 2 days. And by not slept at all, I mean I've slept 3 hours and 4 hours. Those are the two time periods that I've slept. In the past 48 hours, I've slept a combined total of 7 hours when I should have slept 16. Imagine a world where all the animals like take a break for 8 hours a day. You might not like see how I made that leap at first. About YouTube, that sentence didn't make sense. Just ignore that I said that. PSA brought to you by Nighttime Ranting. Back in the day, it used to be that you make no, fuck that. I'm not going to do the back in the day argument. I guess you could pay a search engine optimization guy to decide what topics you make about it. And that takes a different kind of discipline. Fucking moved the frame again, didn't I? And we're back. My phone cut recording in the middle because it reached a 4 gig time limit. File limit? Something like that. Fuck me. What evolution tells us about YouTube videos is that you shouldn't just sit on your ass 24 hours a day eating grass. That's what we should all be doing. This bearded boy explained why he can't stop working, or when he took a little break to work on an even bigger project, which should be something that YouTube encourages, right? So we've gone from a time where TV just used to exist and we used to just see commercials all the time. And the thing about TV is, which is something that we haven't transcended yet, which we may never transcend, who knows? Everybody likes regularly scheduled content, and people like it like that because they can get used to it, right? Because one of the things that Twitch streamers always say when you're getting started is have a regular schedule, because people like to plan their day around shit that they're going to do. And if they know that when they get home at 5:30, you're going to start your stream at 6, that gives them enough time to get showered or whatever the fuck and sit in front of their computer and watch your stream, bro. But if you stream at random ass times, it's fucking you up. But for the person on the other end, right, when you schedule it like that, it feels kind of regimented. It feels kind of flat. It doesn't have that spontaneity anymore. Because this is like, Twitch streaming as a medium has become something, I think, kind of stale. And IRL kind of changed this a little bit with the mobile streaming and stuff. But that's a whole other cesspool of problems that I won't go into. But as a medium, it's become kind of stale. Like they have those Skype based talk shows. They have the gaming let's plays, but there's not really anything that sticks out when you think about Twitch streams. Maybe it's too young of a platform to have that kind of a piece yet. Maybe you need to work on it some more, right? Because like right now on YouTube, I would say there's a lot of stuff that's creatively not bankrupt completely. Like me, I'm a big fan of Casey Neistat. I think what he does every day, or now that his wife is pregnant, every 3 or 4 days, which is fine. I don't give a fuck. Like you should have been there for the first child. You better do it this time, right? Because I listened to that couples therapy podcast, which is, well, that's a tough listen. If you listen to that, I give you credit for that one. Because damn, I have one in the chamber to listen to for the past 3 weeks, and I haven't done it yet. Because damn, is that a tough listen. Because anyway, he puts so much effort into his fucking vlogs that when you watch it, you just like astounded by the sheer amount of effort it took, right? And he just makes it look so effortless. Like he'll just walk into a building and then like you see the shot of him walking into a building. But actually what he had to do was he had to take his camera, go inside the building, set it up, put it on a tripod, frame the shot, go out, walk back in, act like that didn't happen at all, say the line right, or he has to do it again, and then pick everything up and move on, right? And his style is super jump cutty, so he jumps between a lot of like different angles. So he'll say one line like this, and then he'll cut to like him walking up the stairs already, and he'll like continue what he was saying. And by doing this, it gives you like this sense of forward progress that really you do get a lot in vlogs. Like vlogs can be anything. The medium is so vast. You can basically do whatever the fuck you want with it. But it gives this sense of like this, that's his personal style that he's showing to you, right? But there's not really anyone like that on Twitch. Like the closest thing that I can think of to someone being kind of transcendent on Twitch, not really. No, I take that back. I take that word back. That's not at all what this is. Somewhat different, like a tiny bit different than everyone else who streams on Twitch, is someone like Future Man Gaming or Dr. Disrespect or someone who does a character, right? That's like as far as you can get. You just pretend to be someone else. And oh, oh shit. Fuck. This chair sucks ass. I use this chair because for vloggy reasons. Okay. Where was I? Did I move? I fucking moved a little bit. Ruined the framing again. Anyway, what I was saying was they just put on a face. They just like, it's like wearing a mask and going to the theater. That's like as effective as what they're doing. They're not really changing their content, right? One of the more interesting streams that I saw was from Funhouse back when I used to watch them regularly. And James and Elise Willems, I think, have some of like, they're married, so they have like amazing chemistry, and also their sense of humor like really jives with each other. And I think if they wanted to, they could do this, but they're too busy making like 14 videos a week or whatever the fuck. I would totally love it if they split off from Funhouse and made their own thing, because I think their comedy is so good because they're married and they're both hilarious too. So when they did the Spooky Tony Tofu stream, I was like, fuck, this is actually really good. And I think Mr. Sunglasses over here tried to do something similar when him and his fiance, now wife, I guess, when they did their Bloodborne Let's Play, but like in a more serious way, right? Because then they took the idea of a Let's Play and they're like, hey, this is just a podcast, but we're playing this game at the same time. And I think what James and Elise Willems did with that Spooky Tony Tofu thing is this is like an improv comedy bit stretched out over 3 hours or 2 hours or however long that stream was. And I think that was like comedic genius, actually, because they took this character, and Elise is amazing at bringing characters like that to life. I think she does that a lot in their Funhouse videos also, but they don't really get as much chance to shine. It's kind of like an SNL bit, if you think about it. It's like an extended SNL bit where James is a straight man and Elise brings the funny. And then like the audience interaction makes it so that it doesn't get stale. Like they're not just working off a written piece or whatever. They have constant prompts as to what to do because the audience is interacting with them all the time, right? And they're playing a game at the same time. But really, it's not about the game. The game's there also. So it's like there's the game, there's the character, there's James reacting to the character, there's Elise. You can like sometimes she breaks character a little bit, and that's not like a problem at all, because it's super funny to see when she breaks character because something so funny happens that you see Elise reacting to it. Behind the character of Spooky Tony Tofu, which is so a great name for a character, by the way. And then you see that happen, and then at the same time there's like this audience interaction which takes it to a whole nother level. And I was like, why isn't anybody, I think this is kind of Digibro's fascination with Game Grumps, is this like this level of comedic interaction that was super big. That's why they got so successful. I've never watched any Game Grumps, so I'm just assuming this, and this is something that I take problem with when other people do, but hey, it's me, so hypocrisy is totally fine. So this is that level of comedic interaction that I think could actually elevate a medium like Twitch, which nobody seems to want to do at all. Like that's not, I think, something that anyone is motivated to do, because that kind of thing takes planning and time. Like you need to get a costume, you need to get a character ready, you need to like do some preparation, I would assume, like a little bit of like pre-improv work, and just being like, hey, like just bounce off each other, because no one has that kind of natural chemistry, because no one's like fucking married or known each other for like years and years, like 10 plus years, right? That's not really something you can just wake up one day and do. But that's not the kind of thing that really gets pushed to the top on Twitch. Twitch, I think, like look at Ninja, right? I'm sure he's a positive mental attitude guy. He's great at the game, but being great at the game, I don't think lasts that long. Like, because if I knew where to find it, I would go watch that Spooky Tony Tofu stream again, and I would just like zoom in on the webcam part and just completely ignore the gameplay, because the gameplay doesn't really matter. That's more to engage you in the moment, right? But the part that lasts forever is that comedic bit. So really, the people on Twitch should be asking themselves like, hey, what can I do that would last the test of time? Because hey, I'm not doing anything that would last that long. Because I hang around on the Twitch and Let's Play subreddit a lot, just lurking, not really saying anything. But one of the things that a lot of people say is like, hey, I want to get into Twitch streaming, I want to get into Let's Playing, but they ask other people for ideas. Like they in the Let's Play subreddit, this happens a lot. They're like, hey, what game should I play? And how should I play that game? And how should I act? And how can I be funny? And how can I edit it so that people like it? And I'm like, why do you want people to tell you those things? Isn't that the fun of doing it? Or do you just have fun editing the video? Is that what it is? I can't understand where they're coming from at all when they say stuff like that, because isn't that like all the fun of doing it? Like when I did Let's Plays last year, I was so creatively bankrupt, except for like a few times. Like my running commentary wasn't like horrible. Rating myself, I would give it like a 4 or 5 out of 10, right? It's entertaining enough because the videos that did hit, like search engine wise, took off pretty well. It's just the other videos that didn't go because I either tried to game the algorithm too much by like playing games that nobody else will be playing so that I get that boost in the search rankings. And it kind of happened in the opposite way. It happened when I played a game that I at the time liked. I don't think I like it now. I played it like 2 weeks ago to try to get another Let's Play out of it, just to feed the 2 subscribers that I get every month. Um, Primarily through that video. That video makes up 80% of the views on my channel. The Raiders of the Broken Planet gameplay video. I liked it at the time. I actually thought it was quite fun. I had a lot of fun playing that game. I think it's kind of shit now. The developers haven't really done anything to it. Nobody really plays it. Nobody really played it back then either. But regardless, the point is, I didn't really do anything creatively fresh. That was just one of the videos that I actually took time to edit, like cut out the boring bits, and it kind of took off. And it got me thinking, like, if I did that little effort, right? But I know it doesn't work like that. Like, you can't just put in more effort and expect to get more views. If it worked like that, then fucking the Gundam animation dude, whose channel I keep forgetting, would have been amazing. I fucking love that guy. I watch that shit so much. It's insane how good those are. Damn, I wish he has like 15,000 subscribers, which is nothing actually for the amount of effort that he puts in. That those are the people that fall by the wayside in this system, right? Because that's what we were talking about. In this 24-hour system, people like that Gundam animation guy are the people that fall by the wayside because YouTube doesn't encourage that. And I don't think they should. It doesn't really make sense that they should, because they need content. They need like fuck tons of content to give the people, because if you don't give the people content, they what are they supposed to watch? They can't watch it like a blank page. They have to watch something. And you have to have enough content that it appeals to virtually everyone. Because YouTube doesn't really, I know that people like to say like, oh yeah, YouTube is a fucking snowflake haven, like fucking libtards go there to hang out or whatever the fuck. But the reality is, some of the bigger channels on YouTube are right-wing channels. And it doesn't make sense business-wise for YouTube to alienate anyone. Now, there might be some policies recently, like fucking demonetizing anything with guns in it or swearing in it. But just think about that for a second. Like, how can you be too safe as YouTube, right? You have such a huge lead. You have a complete monopoly on the video serving market. There's really nothing you can do that would fuck up your place unless you put Coca-Cola on an ISIS ad, or put a Coca-Cola ad on an ISIS video. Yeah, the other one kind of worked too. That's really all you can do, is have a Coca-Cola logo next to an ISIS beheading video. That's like the only thing that can fuck up your day. So when they saw that shit, when the advertisers saw that shit, YouTube knew that they had to do something. And they did it. They've been throwing shit at the wall to see what stuck. And most of it hasn't worked. A lot of people said their revenue went down, but some people said their revenue didn't go down. And it kind of got me thinking, like, was it really the algorithm switch that made your revenue go down? Was it you making less content? I don't know what it is. Because one of the biggest propagators of these YouTube, not conspiracy theories, but how do you say, like, rampant speculation is the H3H3 guys, Ethan and Ela, right? They talk about this a lot, and they also talk about how they haven't been uploading to their H3 channel, the main channel. They just do a lot of podcasts. I find their podcasts highly informative and useful most of the time, or all the time actually. Um, I only watch the clips when they just have themselves on as guests, but when they actually have guests, I think they're at their best. And Ethan is really good at interviewing and stuff like that. Um, but he's been one of the people who propagates this. Every new YouTube change is like the next Armageddon type. Um, that's the male. Every new YouTube change is the next like Armageddon type thing. Like recently, they changed the sub feed, right? They changed the sub feed so that it's not in chronological order anymore, and they'll bring things that they think you'll like to the forefront, and they won't show the other stuff, or they put the other stuff further down where if you scroll. I don't know about you, but I scroll all the way through my sub feed every single day, and some of the weird shit that happens in the sub feed, it's already buggy as fuck. So let's not pretend that it's perfect now, right? So there is room for improvement because every time, sometimes I go on there at the end of the day and it only shows like 4 videos came out that day, which is obviously not true. I'm subscribed to like 108 channels or something. So there's no way that only 4 videos came out. Like I'm not following all animation channels for only 4 videos to come out a day. That's not a thing. And I refresh it and there's like 40 more videos that show up. And I'm like, fuck YouTube, what are you doing? Like show me the videos I subscribed for, damn it. And then sometimes if I don't watch a particular channel for like 2 weeks, their videos just disappear from my sub feed entirely. And I have to be like, oh, hey, what happened to that channel? Like when Digibro's Gecko Estate episode 1 came out, that shit didn't show up in my sub feed at all. It showed up on my homepage. And I was like, how the fuck are you in my homepage when you're not in my sub feed when I'm subscribed to the channel? And I was like, okay. So it's not like they're complete failures at what they do. Clearly YouTube know what they're doing, right? Because to run a video hosting site at all and to make any kind of profit means they know kind of what they're doing. And I know the whole like the mainstream, the lamestream media, the cliche way to talk about YouTube on YouTube is shit. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. I think this is like a dangerous narrative, which the H3 guys really get behind. And I understand why they're doing it. I know that they have some kind of like paranoia and anxiety about how big their channel is growing, and they talk about how their channel used to be growing much faster than it is now. And hey, there's a lot of factors that go into that, like not every channel that gets super big all the time stays super big. Not every channel grows at the same rate, like that's just a thing that happens. You have to accept it, I guess. And you have to accept the new system too, because it's not like the Patreon change. YouTube is way too big to roll back these changes. Like, just because a couple creators say something, and Ethan is big enough that he can get a meeting with YouTube and like sit down with them and be like, hey, what's up with this? And I think they did address him on Twitter and he did talk to them or whatever, but I don't think they're going to change it because, like Digibro said in his Gecko Estate video, and I tweeted him, yeah, he retweeted me. It's like YouTube is not super profitable. It's not like Netflix. They're not rolling in cash, right? Because first of all, it's a free service. So and the costs of video hosting are insane. And Linus Tech Tips talked about this when he started his float plane service. Is that video hosting is a super expensive endeavor. Like the amount of like storage and like servers you need to host and serve video is insane, or store and serve video rather, is actually crazy. And they allow anyone to upload any amount of video for free, which I think if you just think about like that as a service, that would be a great service. I'd like that service. And you can effectively use YouTube like that. Like upload as many high quality videos as you want, and they'll compress it to whatever quality is the highest they offer. I think 4K is like 24 megabit or something like that, which isn't great, but it's not horrible either. It compresses it a lot, but if you download the video through your channel, I think you still get a pretty decent copy. So there's that. And once you do that, it's like, okay, here's a jump cut. So if you use it like that, it's basically just a file storage service. And then you can just use it like that. You don't even have to use the rest of the service. You don't even have to watch videos at all. So effectively, that's like that. If they just offered that business, they would make a lot of money. But at the same time, they're trying to do all this other stuff, like pay creators who make videos that people watch, and put ads on the platform to support it, keep it running, you know? And I think YouTube a couple years back was for the first time not in the red anymore. They were either neutral or slightly in the black. And that was a big deal for them. They announced it, they made a big deal out of it. I might just be completely making this up, but I do remember this being a news article at some point. And that was big news for them. So it was like, okay, so they were actually losing money. But that was a few years ago. They might be doing a lot worse now, to be honest, because like two ad apocalypses later, right? But it kind of proves that if they're left unchecked, they will make a profit. So it falls on, oh shit, what the fuck was it? Okay, yeah, okay. It falls on the creators to like keep the level of content the same. And if the most successful content on a platform is about how that platform is shit, what does that say about the platform? Like the most Netflix roasty thing that's happened on Netflix is like Joe McHale's weekly show where he goes like, brought to you by Netflix. Doom, and then he plays a Netflix sound or whatever. That's about as hard as Netflix ribbing gets. But that's like a paid platform. They can put whatever they want on it and people will watch because they have such, it's just one person, one company making content for a group of people who they get money from and who they know what they watch. Now YouTube is a little different because YouTube are not the ones making the content. Although they did try that with YouTube Red and that didn't go too well. Scared PewDiePie didn't really take off the way I think they expected it to take off. I guess if you make TV on YouTube with YouTube people, it's just worse TV. Who saw that coming? Maybe let the creators do what they were doing instead of, except the Vsauce one. That I think was pretty good. I saw like 2 episodes of that Vsauce series, and it was actually pretty good. I actually thought it was informative, but and it gave him an ability to, with a higher production budget, to do stuff that he otherwise would not have been able to. So that's good. Um, but they did try to like up the production value, up their influence in the creators, in the shows that they offer, because otherwise they have zero control over what creators make, right? That's like the defining contrast between Netflix and YouTube, which I think are the two video servicing platforms that are going to define the next decade in videos, right? Netflix and YouTube. There's all this Hulu and all that other stuff. I think eventually they're all gonna have everything, and then you just pick whichever one you like the best, the app and everything. And Netflix has a giant head start there. I don't see how Netflix can fail at this point. They have too many subscribers, and they're not getting complacent. They have new shows all the time. Because really, you need new shows to remind people that you exist, right? Otherwise, they just subscribe for the one show that they like and then unsubscribe. I don't know why you do that. It's just like $8 a month or whatever, unless you're getting 4K. But they're making fuck tons of money. So what if YouTube like did a similar thing? What if they charge like a $5 to $6 subscription per month for all of YouTube, and then you get ad free or whatever? They tried that, right? Isn't that what YouTube Premium is about? But I think it's like more. It's like $10, and I'm like, can you really justify uh, charging $10 for YouTube? Is that something you can do? Because Netflix is $8 a month, and they make their own original shows that you can't get anywhere else. I guess YouTube you can't really get anywhere else, but at the same time, a lot of YouTube stuff is like kind of like the internet in general. It feels weird having to pay for it, if you know what I mean. Like the first thing you do when you get or when you're trying to look for something like a review of a thing that you're trying to buy or something like that, you look on the internet, and chances are these days that review exists on YouTube more often than not, because text sites are dead. You don't really want to go to someone else's site. I read a lot of text sites, mostly through Reddit these days. It's a news aggregator, but back in the day, it was like there was a lot of text sites that you read, or text sites that you read that had no video, and now everything's a video. Bloated, shitty 13-minute video. Oh, fuck, just make it 5 minutes. I swear you're not going to lose anything. I can gain 8 minutes of time. Guess you lose one ad, but hey, how many people are watching? Not that many. Anyway, the point is, it feels weird to have to pay a subscription for YouTube. So I don't think that's a viable business model for them, right? Maybe like you can offer it as a side thing, like, hey, they tried that with Red, but then Red, I think, didn't do as well as they liked. And now they have an even more confusing fucking subscription system with YouTube Music and YouTube Premium and all that shit. Which I think is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Because why would you get YouTube Music when you could get Google Play Music, which I think offers basically the same songs, except they split the features of YouTube Red into YouTube Music and YouTube Premium. So they're actively going backwards, which is so weird to me. Like, if I had money, I would get YouTube Red, because a lot of creators have said that YouTube Red content, the money that coming in from YouTube Red actually made a difference when the adpocalypse hit. Right? That's like a thing that happened. So I would definitely get YouTube Red if I have the money, but not YouTube, the news shit, because YouTube Music is YouTube, but you don't get ads and you can play music in the background. I was like, okay, so why should I use that again? Because what I do now is I have a Chromebook, this thing. This Chromebook is my YouTube music machine. I just turn it on. I have ad block on it, so no ads get in the way, and I connect it to a speaker or whatever, and it works perfectly fine. And this costs me nothing to do. But I have to pay $11 for that? No thanks. I listen to music on YouTube, but not enough to justify paying $10 a month just for that, right? Just for the music tracks. If you offered that for all of YouTube, I would consider it, because the amount of podcasts that I listen to on YouTube is super high. So for me, that would be useful, because one of the things about YouTube that's super annoying is when you minimize the app, it stops playing in the background, right? Where Twitch has that video pop out, and I think Twitch is going to eat YouTube's lunch. Maybe not. The creators on Twitch aren't all that great, but Twitch itself as a platform, I think they've offered a lot of features that YouTube has either straight up copied or is trying to integrate right now. Like, they had that mini player in the bottom left. When you were looking for other streams, the other stream would keep playing the stream you were watching originally, and that's a great idea. YouTube straight up copied that, but they did it much worse, because in YouTube, when you have that mini player, it fucking pauses the video. And I'm like, if I wanted the video paused, I could just open a new YouTube tab and just search through that while this one plays in the background, right? The whole point is that it's seamless. And even on their own site, it's not seamless, because when you go to a playlist, it goes to the old YouTube site and you lose the mini player. So you just, whatever video you were watching cuts out. And this is the thing that happens all the time. Like, if you're using the Creator Studio, you would know this. It's super jarring. Is when you're on the nice dark mode website, you click Creator Studio, it cuts to that shitty old site where they're trying to push to a new site, but the new site is worse than the old site, just like new Gmail is worse than old Gmail. Oh, Google, you need to get a new design team or something, or like a UX team, because Jesus Christ, it's kind of bad, some of the things you're doing. Just make the mini player play, or add options in the settings where I can make it do that, because there are no options, because they're doing the intel. They're just throwing features out because they know that their competitors have it, and they're just like trying to make sure that they're not falling behind, but they're not implementing the features fully, right? Because they added that super chat and subscription, I think. Is it called a subscription on YouTube? Because you can subscribe to channels, I know that. At a certain point of size, you get a subscription, because they know that their monetization on the ads is so bad that creators are going to third-party platforms to get money. But they want to cut that action, is basically what's happening. Because on Twitch, the money is integrated so well into the platform, it takes you like 2 clicks to spend money. And this is one of those things that I think you need to really address about your website, or your platform, YouTube, is you didn't even have super chats. And I think YouTube takes a bigger cut or smaller cut of the super chats than Twitch does, but people still donate less on YouTube because streaming is not as much of a thing. Nowadays, I think creators are being incentivized to do more streaming just because super chats are so lucrative, potentially, but before they were totally not a thing. So YouTube is playing catch up in every aspect of the game. Like, their app is behind, their policies are behind, the way they address things is super behind, or maybe not as nimble as they need to be for running the world's largest video platform. They're so slow, and Google is one of those companies that values being nimble over everything else, right? they're not the ones who move fast and break things, but they have so many broken projects and they move so fast that you'd think that they would adopt that or something. They should buy that from Facebook. But YouTube as a platform, I think is at a, I wouldn't say it's Armageddon like people like to say, but I do think it's at a transition point, at a threshold in its history, right? Because until now, there was really no um, there was no like market saturation until now. I don't think. Now everything's on YouTube. Movies are on YouTube. YouTube movies, don't rent shit through there. The quality's bad and it's super expensive, but they are on there. Music is on YouTube. Fucking every TV show has a channel on YouTube and they post clips of everything that happens on their show. And I think some TV shows just post the whole show on YouTube. Um, and then on the side, you have all these original creators, like internet creators, purely internet creators on the side that do their own thing too. So you have this whole mishmash of things, and it's grown to such an extent where now it's completely saturated. Anything that could have been on YouTube is on YouTube now. Like you can find things on YouTube that don't even exist anywhere else except YouTube, just because it's free to upload. And you'd think that companies would see this as a way to just make money for themselves, if nothing else. Because if I upload something that's copywritten, you can make money off that. I won't. But if it gets views, you can make money off it, right? Fucking my fucking tripod keeps drifting that way. I don't know why. But you can make money off of that. So really you should be encouraging people to upload copywritten content. Because on Netflix, if your movie's on Netflix, I don't know how the payout system works, but I don't think it's view based. I'm pretty sure it's like a 1 year deal or a 2 year deal. But on YouTube, it's view based. That means your earnings potential is like potentially infinite. So I don't see why they don't put more movies up on YouTube and just be like, hey, you can watch this for free, like Hulu. Hulu gives a free version with ads and stuff. Just watch the ads, and then you can watch this movie for free. I don't know. I don't see why they don't do that. But that's like a completely different topic. What I was talking about was YouTube has reached like this crossing point where it's been kind of like floating under the mainstream level this whole time, right? It's since 2005 or whatever. It's been becoming more and more. It's been gathering snow, and now it's about to like hit the ski chalet, and we'll see whether it breaks through or just splatters and the next snowball builds up, right? How's that for a metaphor? Am I right? So there's that thing, and then what we really don't know is how viable it is for creators to stay on this platform. Because one of the things Mr. Digibro talks about in a video that he made earlier was how YouTube, you don't really need YouTube anymore because Patreon exists. Because YouTube, you still need YouTube, but as I said before, you can use them totally just as a video hosting site. That's totally doable. You can totally do that just because it's free. And I think one of the ways they can improve their service maybe by like lessening the amount of like weird uploads, or just to make a little bit more money off the creators who do regularly upload, is like charging people to upload that don't get views. You could do that. That's a bad idea, but you could do that. That would make, I think, a bunch of money and just keep people off the platform who are just uploading their videos for no particular reason. That's a bad idea. Don't you do that, YouTube. That's actually a really stupid idea. It's like a Gavin Belson the box type idea. So nowadays, every creator that I know or that I follow is completely decentralized. They do have a little bit more of a presence on one platform than another, but they're so spread out over the entirety of the internet. And social media is so easy to use nowadays that you can get all your fans to follow you on social media and just tell them where your stuff is at. So like Linus Tech Tips, for example, he talks about this a lot. He uploads their videos to everything, like Billy, all kinds of weird shit in China. They have a specific guy who does subtitles for them in Chinese, so they put up the subtitles as well, which I think is a genius idea. And I don't know why more people don't do stuff like that, because Chinese people, I feel like, are kind of obsessed with Western culture, right? Isn't that like the reigning philosophy, is be obsessed with the West? So you would think some of these, like, frankly, white vloggers would do quite well in China if they just put up Chinese subtitles. look into that. That's a free tip for you. But they put their videos up to so many platforms that he says even if they stopped uploading or if YouTube demonetized all their videos, they would still be fine because he has so many other revenue streams. And his channel is fucking huge. So maybe he's not the best example, but there are other smaller creators in that who do an equally good job at splitting their revenue streams. Patreon is a revenue stream. It's not the most dependable. It's not the most independent revenue stream. So don't stake your entire career on it, but it is a thing that exists. So if you want to do it, you can do that. There are also like so many other crowdfunding platforms. There's like Coffee and Drip, which I mention a lot, but I've never really looked into. I feel like a lot of artists who get kicked off of Patreon go to Coffee primarily. That's what I've seen on Twitter is mostly the artists who Patreon doesn't like go to Coffee. But that is an option. And then you can like, because Digibro, he put up his This Is America video on Twitter because it got removed from YouTube. And I downloaded it and I watched it. That's a possibility as well. Not many people will be willing to download and watch a video. It wasn't that big. I think it was like 500 megabytes or something like that, which isn't too bad to watch a video. But hey, that's a possibility too. Louis C.K. does that with his stand-up specials before he got Me Too'd. He has a website and you just give him $5 and then he gives you his special. Like you just download it through his website, which I think is refreshing. One. Two, it gives you a high quality version of the thing, better than the streaming sites would. You get to keep it. You don't have to access the internet again or go on a subscription service to get it again. So that's definitely a possibility. And Patreon lets you do that too, right? You can upload files straight to Patreon and the patrons can download it. That's totally fine. They get to keep it. So it's like you're paying for content that you get to keep, which is not something that we get to do these days because that's a rarity. Everything is a subscription now, and Polymatter had a video about that. I don't like his channel that much, but I did watch that video. I thought it was pretty good. No, I didn't think it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty shit, to be honest. But I like the idea that he took off. I would have gone to a different place with it, I guess. But he did kind of go into how everything's a subscription now, which it makes sense if you think about it, because all companies need consistent revenue to operate. You can't just sit and release one product and work off that money. You do need more money. So the bulk purchase has kind of died as an option, right? Because Adobe used to offer they still do, they offer their software products as a bulk purchase and it costs like $370 or like $500 to buy all of them together. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because even Windows, which is like an operating system, like I think the most important piece of software everybody gets for free or like for $5, unless you're like super paranoid or something. I don't really know anyone who pays full price for Windows. You can just get an OEM key for super cheap, but Windows still makes more money off of that than they would otherwise, so they're fine with that, and they're looking into it too, because Windows, Microsoft is one of those companies who traditionally has been on the wrong side of progress. So this time they're trying to be super progressive. And this is another one of my bugaboos is when people complain about Windows 10. It's like, yeah, it's a shit operating system, but you have to make it work because fucking everything is on there. Like DX12, you want DX12, you have to make it usable. I've turned off every single fucking script, download the things. There are articles. There's really no reason to complain about Windows 10. It's been 3 years. You should have it working by now. But yeah, Microsoft is one of those companies that used to rely on bulk purchases, but now they offer their Windows licenses as a service fee to enterprise customers and stuff like that. And Azure, I think Azure used to be a bulk purchase, but now Azure is a monthly thing. That's their cloud platform. Like everything is a monthly thing now because they don't want to hit you with that upfront, because intrinsically money today is worth more than money tomorrow just because of inflation. But it's better to have a consistent stream of revenue than to have a bulk, like one shot. You get $500 once and then nothing for 5 years, or you get $10 a month for 5 years. The amount of money is comparable. Like it's like 10, 12% more. No, maybe 20% more in the subscription case, but at the same time, you get that over 5 years, so you can like plan out your hiring strategy and everything much easier. What was I even talking about? Oh yeah, YouTube. So we're at this threshold with YouTube where in the next, I think, 3 to 4 years, we're going to see what YouTube can become. Like, can it go fully mainstream, like become like the preferred thing to TV and everything? Because it has the potential to do that, right? And if YouTube was a Netflix type company and they had all these like news shows and like daytime talk shows and stuff like that on YouTube, I think they would be like better prepared to go replace that. But at the same time, they'd be losing a lot of what made them YouTube in the first place, right? But people are kind of divided on whether they want that or not, because ultimately, if YouTube gets bigger, really it's better for the creators, right? You get more competition, but you also get better paying ads. That's just a thing that happens. Like Coca-Cola is advertising on YouTube now, which is not a thing that happened like 8 or 9 years ago, right? Whew, insomnia, baby. How'd you like that? Um, so eventually, I think we're going to see this transition take place where YouTube becomes the main thing, and then cable becomes like the quaint kind of thing that weird people get. Whereas now YouTube is the weird thing that people get, right? Because YouTube TV is a thing. And when I was watching the NBA finals, they went super fucking hard in on that shit, right? They went so hard on hawking YouTube TV. Their ad was really good too, which reminds me, I should do like a bunch of ad analyses because fucking I see so much in these ads. They're actually pretty good. Commercial directors are underrated, you know? And some are horribly bad, but some are actually pretty good. So I was watching the NBA Finals, and YouTube TV was being hawked. Like they're like the title sponsor of the NBA Finals. I suppose that cost a pretty penny. And somewhere there's a broke creator going, "Hey, I could have used some of that. You know, like 55% of that ad money would have served me real nice." So there's that, and so that happened, and they're pushing YouTube TV super hard. And YouTube TV isn't like a bunch of YouTube channels that resemble TV shows. They're just straight up TV shows, which conflicted on so many levels about that, because I would like that. Like the YouTube app on my TV is really good. I would actually use that over a cable remote any day of the week, just because it's more convenient. You can pause and everything, which is not something, I guess DVR, but like that's so low tech. Like fucking YouTube streams are the best for that kind of shit. They're even better than Twitch streams, which is sometimes why like Joe Rogan streams his podcast on YouTube before it goes live on the RSS feed or whatever. So if you want to, you can join in at any time and then watch it from the beginning like it's a video, right? And I do that all the time. And I think it's amazing that you can do that. 'Cause even Twitch doesn't offer that, because Twitch is all about the face-to-face live. But oh, look at that. Damn. I must be getting weird. Okay. Twitch is all about that live face-to-face interaction, but YouTube is more about watching pre-made content. And Twitch is kind of doing that too. They're offering you the ability to upload pre-made content, and sometimes people do that, but not too often. I know Thorin, when he makes his oversight podcast, he records it and renders it beforehand and just premieres it on Twitch once, and then it doesn't go into like his VODs. He then uploads it to YouTube, so you can watch it live and then experience it with the chat, kind of like a premiere, and then watch it on YouTube like normal. And I think that's going to be more of a thing going into the future, because I think shared viewing, we've come to realize, is like a huge experience for people, and it's something that people actually really like to do, is watch together with other people, right? And if it's over the internet, all the better. You can talk to more people, talk shit, whatever you want. So that's a good thing. But YouTube TV is one of those things where I'm like, do we need this? Because PlayStation View is a thing too, and I think they're relatively successful. But people are already used to connecting their PlayStations to their TVs, so just getting TV on your PlayStation isn't like a huge thing. And I don't know if the way to progress into the future of new media, is to like um, chain yourself to traditional 25-minute TV episodes with ads in between. I don't know if that's the way to do it, really, because what are you really doing there? You're just providing the old service on a um, new platform, right? A new app, effectively. Because before it used to be cable app through a cable box or whatever. Now you don't need the box. You're not really changing much more than that. But then on the other hand, you have like creators like Rhett and Link, Good Mythical Morning. They basically do a TV show. What they're doing is a TV show. It's just that they're doing it in a way that can be watched on YouTube, on the internet in general, right? And you can bemoan the loss of like traditional long form, narrative structured, episodic, like mini series or whatever. But I think those things would do pretty good on YouTube too. It's just you have to get used to associating YouTube with higher quality, longer content. And I'd like to see YouTube make some original content like that, like make an original show that premieres on YouTube at a certain time and then is live as a YouTube video from then on, right? And I think they shouldn't do the Netflix thing where they just release the whole season in one go. I think encouraging building the community around watching this thing would be really beneficial for them. And I hope they do something like that and maybe incorporate creators into it too. Like obviously it should be based off YouTube talent, but then don't ham fist it, right? Don't let it occur as organically as possible. So this is an idea that I just had. So here we go. Let me try to articulate it as best I can. What if you had like a YouTube pitch? Like you could go if you're a successful, maybe if you're not even a successful, like if you just have a good enough idea, they have a channel open where you and whoever else you want to collaborate with. Maybe this is one of those things like in Hollywood, you have to attach a big name to a property to get a movie made or whatever. You attach like a certain creator, like, hey, PewDiePie is going to star in this movie that I wrote with these people. And will you give us money to make that? And then YouTube's like, oh yeah, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. And then they promote it. YouTube promotes it because ads on YouTube are not free, but they can put ads on YouTube. Come on. So they promote it, and then people, they make the movie eventually with the money that they get from YouTube, movie or TV series or whatever it is, and then it goes live on YouTube as like season 1, episode 1 or whatever. People watch it. If they like it, they keep making more. So you get like this, you become basically like a network, right? But it's like grassroots level. There's no gatekeeper really. So you're taking the concept of YouTube and like applying it to the next level of production quality. Because right now it's just internet level shit. And there are people with like C100s and red helium sensor cameras and shit like that, but they're not doing anything different than the other people with those cameras, right? They're just doing the same tech show or podcast just with better gear. They're not doing something different. And then there's people like, is it Digital Corridor? Corridor Digital. Yeah, those are the people. They do the stuff that they do, but most of the time they're not releasing movies and stuff like that. What if you teamed up like their special effects with some person who just writes scripts and stuff, who's also on YouTube, or like a writer? There are writers on YouTube. That way you encourage people from vastly different mediums to get on YouTube to like share what they have. So you build like this creator community around YouTube, and then you encourage them to get involved with each other, because collaboration, like mix the communities. Because that's one of the things that makes YouTube stale, is if you only subscribe to like 15 channels and you don't know who else to subscribe to, and you don't like anything those 15 channels make. And the average person doesn't have time to like go searching through all the channels to see what they would like that's similar to what they already like, right? So there's that. And by doing this network thing, right? I said they already removed the gatekeeper, but let me explain that topic a little bit more. So before, you needed approval from a network to get any video you made out at all to the internet. Now that's no longer the case. Anyone can Okay, we're back. I ran out of storage space on my micro SD, but we're back. So anyone can upload anything to YouTube. That's a thing that they can do, and it's totally fine, and that's acceptable. And there are people who put more work into their videos and who put less work in their videos, but there's no gatekeeper anymore. That's gone, right? But now, to reach that next level of production quality, you either have to be super, super mainstream, like so successful as a channel that so many people watch your videos that you make a ton of money and you have the money to do it yourself. There are not really that many channels, right? Even the top level channels don't really have the money to go out and do things themselves. I don't think so. That's why PewDiePie needed like YouTube Red money to make that scared PewDiePie thing. I don't even know if that was his idea, to be honest. That could have been YouTube's idea. But the point is, YouTube don't provide the ideas. They just work as like a production studio with no gatekeeper. I mean, somebody has to approve the pitches and stuff. Maybe you could do a crowdfunding thing. This isn't a fully fleshed out idea. I'm having this as I talk, right? But it seems like it's totally doable. Like you could have this mini network operating within YouTube where you pitch larger projects that get funded or not. And that's kind of what I thought Casey Neistat was going to do with his 368 studio. But it turns out that's not really what. But, okay, like a 5-minute speech about that is Casey Neistat, when he did his 368 reveal, I was super hype because to me it was like it reminded me of the apprenticeships from a long time ago, right? When you go like apprentice with uh like a blacksmith or whatever to get training from them and then go do your own thing. It seemed to me like this was going to be like an apprenticeship, or if you're a writer, a residency, right? Something like that, where you go there and you like get inspired by that, and then you take that and you go make whatever you want to make. You get influence or like exposure to certain types of gear, stuff like that. Low key, it's kind of like a creator college, right? But for people who are already known, not for the unknowns. Um, Yeah, so there's that. So when he announced that, I was super hype. So what ended up happening, or it seems like it's happening, is he's gonna have like 3 or 4 podcasting studios underneath. I think they're gonna have like drones and camera gear available for people that he invites to use and stuff like that, which I think is a great idea. And I think it's a good way to encourage smaller creators to maybe not super small. Like one of the people that shows up in his vlog a lot is that Sam guy. I don't know his last name. I'm not subscribed to him at all. Maybe I should. I don't know. He like does stuff with skateboards. I think that's reductive, but hey, can't know everything. So he only has 15,000 subscribers or something, and he hangs out with Casey all the time. Casey has like 8 million, 9 million, 9.5 million last I checked, I think, subscribers. So it's not like what they're making is so drastically different. They're both doing vlogs, right? So they can talk to each other a lot about what it's like to create, because maybe the life experience for Casey is different just because he's so much more famous and he gets recognized so much more. So you can't really relate to him on that level. But on like just a shooting and editing level, you can totally talk to him. Like that seems like a thing that they would be able to talk about. So having that kind of access to somebody who's higher up or further along in the process than you um, seems like it'll be really useful. That's kind of what I've been trying to do with the Lohi Speaks thing, but like capturing a snapshot at a certain like interval twice a week in my case, from now until maybe 4 or 5 years in the future. Who knows how long that's going to run, but uh, yeah. So that's the thing that they could gain from him by talking to him, is like realizing what they have to do to reach his level. And I think he's or the people that he talks to will be creatively independent enough not to just wholesale rip off what he's doing, but take inspiration from what he's doing and then improve it in their own way. Because really, that's what you want. You don't want 35 more Casey Neistats. You want 15 more. That's a lower number because I'm assuming there are less creatively independent people than people willing to rip him off. You want 15 more people who are doing their own thing, which is distinct but equally good. That's what you want as a YouTube, because if you have 35 of the same person, you just have more content, but it doesn't appeal to more people. If you have 15 different people, that's good because they appeal to 15 times as many people. And all the people who like the one person can still watch that one person. You could make an argument that, hey, that one person doesn't make enough comment, but we have no shortage of copycats on YouTube. So really, I don't think that's a huge problem. This has nothing to do with YouTube, by the way. But I do think eventually, at some point, they should get involved in this, and they should throw him a dime or two and be like, hey, Casey, we want to collaborate with you, make this a YouTube creator studio in New York, and then be like, can we syndicate this to other cities and be like, because there are YouTubers, successful YouTubers from all over the world. Like one of Casey's friends, that long-haired dude, is from Utah or whatever. Like Utah is not really a place you think about in your day-to-day life, but there's a YouTuber from there who's relatively successful. That's what you get from eliminating gatekeepers. More people are allowed to succeed. That's just something that happens. So there's that. There's also, yeah, so they should get involved with that kind of stuff. Like get involved with the community, because it is the community that brought YouTube up. And like I said, that doesn't mean you have to limit yourself to lower production level content, because you can still make higher production level content while involving the community. It doesn't have to be on the same level as like a fucking Netflix movie where they spent $50 million for no particular reason, or $80 million just to make a headline, right? You don't have fuck you money. You have, hey, would you like this money? That's pretty good. That's still reasonable. Like giving a filmmaker who's like well known for their, like, for example, this is just an example. Dan Mace, who is Casey Neistat's South African friend, who appears on his vlogs a lot. That guy is a crazy, insane filmmaker. If you saw the videos on his channel, he used to direct commercials, and that one he did with, he's from South Africa, so he did a bunch of, he did one where he like shot kind of like a montage of every single African culture, and then like the whole message was about unity or whatever. If you gave that guy like not inconsequential amount of money, but a significant enough amount of money that he could make at least a short film, if not a feature. He has very little subscribers, by the way. So if you give him like $20,000, $50,000, something like that, which for YouTube is like, that's like one salary, right? They just added like 10,000 salaries, I think, to moderate their content. So clearly they don't care that much about the money. And give someone like him, who has a high enough profile, but is small enough that you don't appear to be playing favorites, give someone like him some money to do something, and then watch what happens. Because you might get one video out of it, but if that video is viewed like, tens of millions of times, it's probably worth the money, right? I think so. That's like a direction that YouTube could take, probably won't take. We're probably headed toward a Jimmy Kimmel saturation point. But hey, you can be a little bit optimistic. And I fucking I intended this to be like a topic based thing, but I've been ranting for like 70 plus minutes. So I'm just gonna stop now and change angles and record something else. So subscribe. Bye.